Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Jedi Talk. I am your host, Brad Hughes, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Tom Okery, who is going to help me pilot the ship while Evan's still not here. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but you say you're going to be here, then you're not. What are you going to do? We move on without you. Yeah, how's that feel? How does that feel, Evan? How's that feel? You feel. You let us down. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding, but for the sake of you being mad at me, I'm kidding. Tom, how are you doing today, buddy?
By the right of the council, by the will of the Force, I'm pretty fucking pissed off, but you already know why. But outside of that, I'm doing well.
Dude, vent. Let it go. Let it release the Kraken.
Everyone knows I'm moving to Florida. Long story short, without getting too political or into it, just by way of the moving company that promised to be here between the dates of 2 days ago and today, have not arrived. And when I called them, it sounds like they don't know the back of their asshole from the truck that may or may not be headed in the direction of my home to pick up the things that we have that need to move pretty much across the country to Orlando. So I'm not stressed. Don't worry about me.
Dude, I don't understand how you can't go, hey, you're the driver. We here's a phone. If we need you, we'll call you. It seems like a very simple. The guy driving okay, you know what truck it is, right? Yes. Okay, so who's driving that truck? Someone who works for you, correct? Okay, find out who's assigned to drive that truck and call that person and ask them where they're at.
See, that's exactly what I thought they were doing this whole time. But now, according to the last person or possible squirrel that I talked to on the phone, because these people have the IQ of butter, but the person that I talked to on the phone doesn't seem to think that a driver was assigned yet. And I just flat out asked, do I not have a driver? And they're like, no, dispatches. And they fumbled across their words. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting next 24 hours. I'll just say that.
So you guys leave for Orlando for good on Friday?
Sunday.
Sorry. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It wouldn't be tomorrow. So what happens if they're not there? Like, does your stuff get picked? Like, what happens?
That's what I'm figuring out. The worst comes to worst, I get a budget truck or a U-Haul that I lodge this stuff in. I'm going to have to drive it myself.
Oh, well, that does sound terrible, but, you're driving anyway.
I know. I'm not driving at the pace I want to be driving in this truck.
Yeah,
I know. I have a tight schedule with hotels that I've already booked for stops and stuff, which I'm sure that can still be made. I just driving my brand new 2021 Chevy Equinox versus a giant truck that I'm renting for a couple of days.
Yeah. Plus, then also, how do your cars get there?
Right.
Yeah. Oh God. I'm assuming
I'd have to tow the car, I assume.
Oh, dude, moving's so fucking stressful. Oh, it's the worst.
It shouldn't be if the people you run into agreements with follow through. So.
That's the thing. Like, how are they not held accountable now? Like, hey, they're just like, sorry. Dude, that is like every fucking company nowadays, no matter what you're doing, even Disney, which is heartbreaking to say, but even Disney, it's true. No one knows anything. They can't help you. You'll have to talk to someone else who isn't there. Their hours are Monday through Wednesday, 2:30 in the morning Japan time. Every third week. It's just like, and you never hear shit back. It's so fucking infuriating. But Christ,
companies in COVID-19 is an excuse for why they're bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit.
We've been in this pandemic, whatever you want to call it, or what feels like ages. It's going to be 2 years before you know it, right?
Yeah.
We've subsequently gone from wearing masks to not wearing masks to being told to wear them again, but I'm pretty sure that that's not going to happen.
They instated it at Disney World for inside. Universal is still letting it be optional. So I think you're going to see a lot. I saw a ton of people online saying that they were going to cancel Disney World trips now that masks had to be worn again.
Go to Universal instead. You know what? Nice. I'll say it right, flat out. Nice job, Universal, keeping it optional. Make it a choice. All the CDC is fucking doing is giving us guidelines. Okay? And I might be ranting because I'm pretty pissed off as it is right now. So every little stinking thing is really getting on my nerves. So, Brad, you want me to go off on something? Just let me know, and I'd be happy to.
Go off on it, dude. This is like our version of Ginger Snaps. I love it. I love it. That's a great segment on your podcast, Fourth Mother Box Podcast. Go check it out. Yeah, dude, it's You know what I find interesting is that like they are so quick to, which it doesn't make sense. Like the only reason I'm a little like going, maybe there is some reason that we should be concerned about this Delta variant. Just for the record, everyone, I've been vaccinated. Okay, I have asthma, and I know that counts as quote high risk, but I am truly, and I mean this, 100% not scared of COVID at all. My mom had it; she was completely fine. She lost taste for a few weeks, for maybe like a month or two. Everyone I've known that had it was fine. I know I'm not downplaying anyone who did lose somebody or, anything like that. But the only thing that makes me kind of go, maybe this Delta variant is something that we should be concerned about, is the fact that Disney is going to spend a lot of money putting this rule back in place. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I remember friends of mine from Get whose job was at the time to basically like walk around and make sure people are wearing their masks. And those jobs aren't cheap. And, as cheap as the company is, especially nowadays, the fact that they're willing to go through and do that again, I don't know. I'm not scared of it. I probably should be, with having asthma and that puts me in a quote high risk category or whatever. But I'm truly not worried about it. But it's just weird that I feel like we were going good, and then like for whatever reason it's just like I know it's cases, but like I've heard, and the thing about what's so fucking frustrating is, dude, there's like, for whatever reason with everything now, there's two sets of quote facts. I've seen that, yeah, the cases are up, but the hospitalizations and hospitalizations are down. And I've seen that cases are up, but hospitalizations and deaths are up as well. I don't know. I do know that like in Florida, they reported like 19,000 new cases today. So, but like I think people get freaked out like they did when it was first going on, when we didn't know what was going to happen. But we kind of have a fucking hand on this thing now. Like we know how to treat it. I don't know why everyone's freaked out about it like they were. Like back in March, sure, when this thing was like, I remember watching, there was a guy who was on Rogan, and he was like, dude, this could kill like 4 million people in the U.S. And I was like, oh shit, that's a lot of people. It actually may have even said more than that, but that's not what this is. Like we know that's not what this is. I'm very confused as to why we're regressing so hard now with this Delta variant. I don't know. It's very strange. Do you have any thoughts you want to share?
Oh, I got lots of them, and I'm going to be as diplomatic as I possibly can be.
I tiptoed around it pretty well.
Yeah. But my fact of the matter is, and I know we kind of segued into this on accident, but blame me, whatever. But it is a topic, right? And we tend to talk about theme parks a lot, and Disney is, I believe, they're going to essentially treat what the CDC says like their rules and not guidelines. First and foremost, there shouldn't be any rules to begin with, and I'd like everyone to remember that what the CDC puts out are guidelines. They are not this sort of overbranching like mother and father figure that we're under 18 and have to listen to everything that they say. They're guidelines, okay? When this pandemic started, I was just in the same boat as everybody else, where I was, had a lot of fear from it. I noticed the fear came from the constant media attention that it was getting, and when I started to actually sit down and do research on my own, then I became less and less fearful, and I was ready to approach this with common sense. And I think that's what people are not doing right now, is approaching this with common sense. And I'm calling out, specifically about people on both sides of the aisle of, these elected officials, quote unquote, people who specifically state that they, work for the people, work for the greater good of the people. It's like, it's you specifically that I'm wanting to call out, because you're just as bad as flip-floppers as people, CDC is about, are we wearing masks? No, nope, you're good, vaccinated, or don't have to. So great. I did my research just like you, Brad, and got the vaccine. And I even recovered. I had recovered from COVID back in December. And it was, I've personally, I've had the flu that's been worse. I had 103-degree fever with the flu. My fever only got up to 101 with COVID. And but that's my personal experience, and I know others had some terrible experiences, and my heart is with those people, especially who have lost loved ones that have been through tough times. If you're worried about it, that's where the choice comes in, and that's what I almost want to plead with people. It's like your choices, make your choices to better yourself and how you want to live the world. I, as a fan of Disney, it's disappointing, but I just assumed that they were going to follow exactly what the CDC guidelines would say. I would have preferred them to still leave it up to a choice. They could strongly recommend it all they want. That's great. But my choice is to not wear a mask. And I'll be still not wearing a mask because I, just like you, Brad, am vaccinated and I've recovered from it. So, like, I'm super ginger over here, right? Fighting all these variants and shit. So, not to get off, if you're fearful of this, I hear you and I feel you, and I hope that you can eventually come to a place where you're in a better spot for it. And if you're on the other end where you think it's made up, and it's a hoax and all this crap, I respect your opinion. I have opinions of my own, but that's still your opinion to make. And then there's the rest of us where we have this common sense approach to it, and we need more people to have common sense. That's where I was getting at with the bureaucrats on both sides. It's like common sense approach to this, okay? What happened, especially to where my country gone, right? Specifically, so what the hell happened? And Disney, I am a little disappointed that they're asking for masks indoors, and what is it? It's on transportation too, right? Transportation indoors and attractions.
Yep, anything that's not outside, which I don't know if they could impose that with this summer again. I mean, this summer is brutally hot here. I will say I will give Disney credit. They could have kept it masked on for a while. They had the choice to do that. I will give them a little bit of credit that when the CDC did recommend that it was okay if you were vaccinated, they did let people in without a mask. So I am hypercritical of the Walt Disney Company for many reasons. I love everything they put out. Essentially, I moved to Orlando because of Disney, so it's a very complicated love-hate relationship I have with them. I believe strongly that their products are fantastic, but the way they make those products needs to change. And I think this is a longer conversation, but I will give them credit for releasing that mask mandate when pretty soon after the CDC said they didn't have to. I think it was like a week, but part of that was, removing things and removing signage that said you had to. It takes a while when you have a theme park complex that's the size of Manhattan, for 4 times the size of Manhattan. So it takes a little bit. So, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. And and this is the part about it that I hate the most, is that we can have conversations like this between you and me, and we're both being rational and talking about things. No one's screaming and yelling. But I know there will be someone who listens to this and comments, and they're like, "You just want people to die. You don't care about anybody." Well, hang on. If you were that nervous about the COVID virus, you don't need to be at Disney World anyway. Like, if you were that freaked out, the last thing you need to be doing is standing around a bunch of people. It's just such a strange thing that you can't even really talk about anymore, which I don't subscribe to that. I'll say whatever I want. I don't have to, I have no, I have no, we don't have sponsors. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So I'll say what I want, but it's just a weird time, man. It's strange. Personal choice and common sense need to come back, man. I mean, if you're freaked out, and my thing is the people who are freaked out but still haven't gotten vaccinated. I know if you have like a medical issue and you're worried about that kind of thing, but like, I know people, and I'm just going to say this, and you know who I'm talking about very well, who preach all this, get vaccinated, wear a mask. That person does not wear masks, and that person did not get vaccinated until way after I did. And it's this phony baloney bullshit that stresses me out. If you're gonna preach one thing, you better practice it, because that shit is that's where I have like a really strong hate response. And that's kind of a weird term, but like I grew up really, really religious with my family. I went to private Christian school, private Baptist Christian school in the South until 6th grade. So I have this really, like, when I see people, being, preaching one thing and literally preaching one thing, and then, hearing 6 months later, like, yeah, I cheated on my wife. I didn't mean to. God, the devil tempted me to do it. And it's like, oh, go fuck yourself. All right. You're full of shit. Quit acting like you're better than everybody. And that goes for anybody who's being a hypocrite. If you have to be able to, I point at South Park. South Park will shit on Joe Biden. They will shit on Donald Trump. They shit on Obama. They shit on Bush. They shit on Clinton. You know, you have to be able. Carlin was the same way. You have to be able to shit on everything, you know, in a comedic sense, and you have to be able to be objective when you're talking about things in a real way. And the objective look of this for me is, yes, this Delta variant thing is concerning. I think we can both agree it's at least, what's going on here? Cases are rising. That doesn't correlate to deaths. You know, I think people, every time they see cases, they go, oh my God, deaths. But I think everyone just needs to calm down. If you want to wear a mask, put a mask on. If you don't, don't. But I do think if you can get vaccinated, it's probably in your best interest, whether you believe in vaccines or not. It is probably in your best interest in the long run to get vaccinated. They're pretty safe from what I understand. I honestly haven't done a ton of research into it. But you probably know more about that than I do. But, you know, it's if you're that concerned, if you're not going in the first place, you shouldn't have an opinion on what people who are there are doing. You know, if I'm at home in North Carolina and I'm watching somebody on YouTube and I'm not there and I'm just enjoying the video, I can't get mad they didn't do the ride I wanted to do, or, you know, didn't get the snack I wanted. You know, I mean, this is very odd for people who aren't here to be making those decisions.
Yep, I get that. And personally, I'm so much like, you choose what you think is best for yourself. I wouldn't think I'd even say it's in your best interest to do one thing or another. It's just,
that's fair.
I am so libertarian when it comes to that. It's just like,
yeah. I just mean like for your own health. Like we would both agree, it is in your best interest to exercise and eat right. I'm not telling that person to exercise and eat right, but it is in your best interest to do that. Now that can be debated with the vaccine, you know, but I'm not telling you when to do anything. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. The only reason we got the vaccine is because we have a cruise in January. And we wanted to get this shit out of the way because we know they're going to... I wouldn't have gotten the vaccine. To be perfectly honest with everybody, I wouldn't have gotten the vaccine if we didn't have that cruise. Because at the time, there was all this talk about, like, vaccine passports, and you have to show this to get on a plane, and you have to show this to get on a cruise ship, and you're going to have to, you know, show it everywhere to not have to wear a mask or even to go anywhere. So I was just like, let's just do it and be fucking done with it. We got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It was the one shot, done, boom.
Did?
Yep, got that, done. That's how little I gave a fuck. I was like, I'm just gonna do this and be done. I did watch a pretty cool video that was like, I forget the name of the YouTube channel, but they talked about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in a different way than I had heard about it before. They were talking about the efficacy rates, and that doesn't necessarily equate to what people think it means. And the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was the only vaccine that was tested in other countries other than America.
Oh, okay.
And so it should, in theory, hold up to the variants better because things, I don't know. I'm not a fucking doctor. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I have no idea. I know Star Wars and Disney, and that's pretty much it. And music. Other than that, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. We're not scientists. We're not doctors. Do what the fuck you want to do. Now, let's talk about something we actually know what we're talking about. Let's get into some Star Wars talk 20 minutes into the Star Wars podcast.
Let's do it.
All right. Did you want to talk about the first story here? This is something you brought up to me, and actually, I had heard about it a little bit, but not a lot. Do you want to talk about this real quick?
So, absolutely. So, we all remember the last episode of The Mandalorian in Season 2, when Luke Skywalker, not Plo Koon, came back and murked some Dark Troopers and saved Grogu from a certain death by the hands of those Dark Troopers. So, and what we saw was a young Luke Skywalker, and obviously what we know of his last appearance in The Last Jedi, Mark Hamill sure as shit does not look like that anymore. So there was a lot of CGI done to show what Mark Hamill looked like when he was, post Return of the Jedi. And a little bit older, in fact, obviously, since the last time we saw him look like that. And, accompanied by the green lightsaber. There were some thoughts and feelings when that scene eventually came out. I think we were all obviously caught up in the moment. I didn't give it a certain crap how it looked and really didn't break it down until this video got released. So there was a deep fake of Mark Hamill, of updated, in my opinion, much better done CGI to Mark Hamill and the scene, and it was shot side by side. So this YouTube video I shared with you, Brad, did you get a chance to watch the actual video side by side?
I haven't yet. I'm going to. After work today, I dipped over to Springs real quick before the rain hit. So I literally came home, ate, and then walked out of the garage. I haven't done anything other than watch the new Chip and Dale shorts while we were eating dinner. That's the only thing I've watched today.
Nice.
They're actually really cute, by the way. No, I'm going to watch it tonight because I'm very curious, but I saw the thumbnail, and that was very interesting to me.
Yeah, so Shamook is the name of the deepfake artist on YouTube, and that posted that video, basically side by side of what Lucasfilm produced and what Shamook produced. And in my opinion, the deepfake is a lot better. And I didn't know it needed that good of an upgrade. Like when you look at side by side, it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, that was so popular. This gentleman, I believe. Don't quote me on that. All I know is Shamook here as I'm reading the notes that I took.
Well, we know it was something well done, so it had to be a man. But go ahead.
And that was Brad Hughes, by the way.
I'm kidding. Leftist, put your pen put your fingers down off the keyboard. It's okay. Kidding.
I can hear him now.
You son of a bitch! You didn't even include trans people in your argument. It could have been a trans woman.
So a man. So anyway, yes, go ahead.
Shamook was hired by Lucasfilm officially.
Yeah. That's okay. This was interesting to me because I remember when this came out, I was kind of like, it looks kind of janky, but I don't give a shit. It's so cool. Who cares? My only concern about this is, and we have, it's by the way, everyone's listening to this. We have not talked about this yet. We started to talk about it when we first got on the call, and I was like, let's just save it for the show. The thing about it for me was it did look janky, but I think the thing that's more concerning to me is that Lucasfilm, this kind of signals to me that they're no longer like the Industrial Light and Magic is not the standard. It's some kid in his basement on YouTube.
And yeah, that's a little nerve ending a little bit there.
It's weird, right? Like, how can these guys have this, like, and I know it's not an unlimited budget, but essentially, if they wanted to, they could put the resources to have this thing look like, and Loki looked a little janky in some parts too. So I'm not picking on Star Wars by any stretch, but it does have a television show budget. It is not a full-length feature film with the full budget of, it's close. I mean, it would have to be pretty close, I would imagine. But, it's not the same budget. But it is just odd to me that they were like, hey, we can't do this. Can we hire this kid off YouTube to come in and fix stuff that we've screwed up? Now, here's the thing that has me questioning this. Why would they hire this kid for, like, what else going forward are you going to need deepfake stuff for?
That's the first thing that popped into my head is like, all right, you're not bringing Alden back, and you're going to do, a recast of like Han, showing up for a little bit. Or...
Could you imagine if they like redo Solos, like the Solo Special Edition?
Oh God, yeah. I'm at the point like I've said what I've said about the young Solo, but I don't want that done by any stretch. That would be stupid.
See, here's the thing: if he was bad enough, wouldn't people want that? That shows to me that he wasn't as bad as people like wanted him to be. Because like if it was like horrible, you're like, yes, put Harrison Ford's choppy face on it. Another thing too is like if they're planning to do like special, I mean, what could you possibly do that would require this level of deepfake going for? I don't understand what you. I mean, do you have any idea? Like, is it just because he's just talented and they're like, we can use him for other stuff as well? He has like good insight and is just a talented, I guess it's animation, right? Animator.
The optimist in me is telling me that okay, they just saw this is like an up and coming, recreation of Walt Disney just in a visual like effects artist where it's like you're self-taught and you figured all this stuff on your own and Lucasfilm has to have him, right? Because he did an amazing job on that video.
Yeah.
But the best thing to happen to Star Wars films and the story in the franchise itself was the passage of
passage of time and technology essentially getting better.
Yeah.
So to the point you made earlier, Brad, was spot on, especially with the, you don't have an unlimited budget, but don't you want to, especially if you're Imagineers working on Star Wars projects, i.e. Galaxy's Edge and the upcoming Galactic Star Cruiser, don't you want to push that technology to the absolute limit and do everything you possibly can get out of that? This is 2021. We're rolling into 2022. This isn't the late 70s anymore. Star Wars needs to benefit from what's out there right now. And it needs to push everything to the possible max. I mean, we're talking about, people with laser swords in galaxies here that could travel from planet to planet like we go from gas station to gas station getting our donuts and extra candy because we've closed down the local QT because we've bought all the sugar out of that.
It's I'm just very curious, like, now did this guy have like a following on YouTube, or did he have like one video that hit and just went viral? Or I don't know anything about this guy.
From my understanding, I mean, the video itself had, millions of views, and the following was there specifically. Now, I can't confirm, neither deny or confirm, that the following was because of this, because this video is a couple months old, obviously. So I can't tell you that specifically is the reason, there's a following, but based on what I've read, I believe, people knew him or her of how good of a deepfake artist that they were, and Hamill just pretty much put him over the top.
Okay, so here's the game I like to play. Tom, you were the head of Lucasfilm. You are now Kathleen Kennedy, and this young kid walks into your office, and you are there to assign him some new job. What do you give this kid to do? I keep saying kid. He's probably 50, or I don't know how old he is, but like, where does your brain go for something for this kid to do since you just hired him?
Fallen Order 2.
Okay, that's a good one.
No. I'm. That was just more of a because I'm a Fallen Order fan. It's like, come on, start getting the video game. No,
you could do an older Cal
Brad,
story. I mean, if you wanted to make it a video game, you'd have. I mean, it's a little bit different. It's rendering, but like if you wanted to do like a Cal stuck around and is like a story parallel to the original trilogy, you'd have to age him up a little bit.
Yeah, you'd have to age Cameron up. Definitely, he hasn't aged since they did the motion capture. But by the way, I clued you into that documentary that comes with that deluxe part of Fallen Order.
Yeah, I gotta check
the way they do the motion cap in that game is just insane. But how incredibly like you'll see. I think her name's Deborah Brown, the actress who plays Siri. She looks exactly like she does in real life and in the video game. It's just crazy,
Wow.
Same with Cal, same with Grease too. It's kind of fun. But anyway, I'm getting off path here because we could talk about Fallen Order forever. What's the first thing if I'm take Kathleen Kennedy's spot and I say, okay, this kid walks in. I know the deepfake artist, what I think Star Wars is going to do and what I would do, I think would be two completely different things. What I think Star Wars is going to do is, we're going to see more of the young Princess Leia like we saw at the end of Rogue One. We're going to maybe see more of the Hans. We're going to see more old characters returning.
Tarkin and Andor.
Do you think they brought this particular deepfake artist in to brush some things up in some flashbacks in the Book of Boba Fett?
That could be another thing I was thinking about, and I had on what would I have on? I had on one of the original trilogy movies the other day. I can't remember, just in the background playing. And the thing I thought, it was A New Hope. That's what it was. It was A New Hope because I remember seeing the Jabba the Hutt thing, where he sees Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine. When he sees the fight, he's like, "Hey, Jabba, blah 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 blah." That whole scene, it looks like shit. I mean, It looks like a PlayStation 1 game. Like it looks absolutely terrible. If I was Lucasfilm, what I would do is, okay, these versions are the special edition, are the things that are canonized, right? They are the actual versions of the Star Wars films. That's something that George Lucas had written into the contract, so they couldn't undo it. Blah 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 blah. Okay, can we update what it looks like?
Mm-hmm.
Can we get a photorealistic Jabba the Hutt that actually looks and moves like Jabba the Hutt does? Because that is a huge disconnect. And Boba
Fett too.
Boba Fett too. But that is a huge disconnect from what you see in episode 4 to what you see in episode 6. So if I'm Kathleen Kennedy and I have basically unlimited, say so and what to do, that would be something I would really consider. I wouldn't change anything. It would be a shot-for-shot remake of everything, but I would update it because it looks really bad. Short of that, I think you're probably going to see stuff from... I think a lot of Rogue One stuff is going to carry over into Andor. Kind of has to. I think you're going to see Tarkin. And that Tarkin wasn't very well received either. It didn't bother me as much.
Me neither.
A lot of the lighting was really dark, so you couldn't really see a lot of the effect on it in a lot of scenes. But I thought it was pretty good. It was a little uncanny, a little uncanny valley there. But I think it was probably better than the Luke. But it also was a movie. It's got a bigger budget. I don't know, man. It's a tough call. It's a tough one because you're not going to mess with any of the sequel stuff. There's no reason to. Everything looks like it's supposed to look. The characters have actually physically aged. It's not like you have to age those guys up. Prequel stuff doesn't really need to be a thing. I don't know, man. To me, it's just an odd hire, and I wouldn't be surprised if this kid actually doesn't even do anything. They just did it as like a goodwill gesture, because Star Wars is known to do that kind of stuff. Like, think about The Mandalorian. When they were shooting Season 1, they didn't have the budget to do all the Stormtrooper costumes. They called up the 501st. And some of those characters have now screen accurate and screen used. Well, they're all screen accurate, but I'm sorry, screen used costumes from The Mandalorian. So,
right.
Star Wars has kind of had this relationship with fans of becoming part of it once you're a fan. And, Dave Filoni's a good example of that. He was working at Nickelodeon. And, I think he talked to George Lucas or something and expressed that he would love to do something. I forget the story there, but fans work for Star Wars. That's kind of how it works. Who's the guy from MythBusters? Adam Savage.
Know. Sure.
Is that right? He's got a YouTube channel now, and he worked on the prequel trilogy. So and he's a fan before that. So it's, I don't know. It's something that I am curious and I would like to follow, but I really just don't see it ending up anywhere, because I don't think they're going to do anything that big with it, and that's kind of the point to me if you're going to hire someone like that. But maybe I'm just not thinking. Maybe they have something in their back pocket that they're gonna use this kid for. But I don't know, man. I overall think it's cool. I'm happy for this guy because it's a cool thing. Imagine you get a call from Lucasfilm one day, here's your podcast. I want you to do a Star Wars podcast for us. That would never happen. But
okay.
I mean, it'd be cool, right? So I'm sure this guy's loving life right now. I mean, it's a cool moment.
Oh yeah, and all the power to him too, for getting the offer and making that incredible video, and obviously getting recognized. So I do think it's Lucasfilm maybe having a little FOMO and just sweeping some up and comer up so they can have and plan for the future. But there's lots of series coming.
Oh, I just thought of something. The cynical part of me just came up with something. What if? I'm sorry to tell my brain works. What if they saw it and they're like, "Shit, we got to get this kid to stop because he's making us look bad."
I mean, hell, it's their paycheck that they're signing off to him every 2 weeks. So
is it worth it to them to not have the people show how bad that looks? I don't know. Maybe there's just more loot coming.
But that's fine. I mean, that's essentially what I was getting at with Book of Boba Fett coming up. We're gonna see flashbacks with good old Boba. We are. So they're gonna age it up a bit. I don't know what callbacks we may get. You said Tarkin in Andor. Ahsoka's series is coming out. Are we gonna see any? Rosario Dawson, I believe, is early 40s. Obviously, she doesn't look old. I'm not trying to say that, but with her in the makeup, they could probably de-age a little bit with the makeup. But maybe we'll see callbacks to Ahsoka a little bit earlier. There's a lot on the horizon, and this particular artist might not be used specifically for de-aging characters. He could be put in a completely different department, learn something new, and be just stuck in a corner so he doesn't have to call out Lucasfilm over and over again on YouTube.
He could just be something they consider an asset, and something they want to nurture, and that would be really cool if that's what it is. But who knows? I mean, it's only people who know are Lucasfilm and this guy here. So kudos to that guy, man. Is there anything else in the news you want to talk about? Oh, there's one more thing I did want to talk about.
Sure, go for it.
I saw this today.
Yeah. What'd you say?
If you have something pulled up, we can go ahead and talk about it, and I can. Pull
I
this
do
up.
not like we're talking about before we kicked it off. There isn't too much since last time we spoke. So, what you got?
There was a panel at San Diego Comic-Con about the High Republic, and they've released 4 new titles and authors from their book line that will start in January 2022. Did you see these?
I've seen bits and pieces of it here and there, but I know you're much more invested in High Republic, so I definitely want to hear what your thoughts are on right now. And just for those listeners out there, I will, once I start the drive to Florida, hopefully it's in my car if you're listening earlier, and I can connect the Bluetooth. I will be listening to at least Light of the Jedi. So
Sweet. So that will kick off your investment in this. I'm telling you.
Yep.
So this is actually, they have like a little graphic here at Star Wars, the High Republic logo, and then it says the light of the Jedi goes dark. ... And then they gave us four new projects. They don't say exactly what they are, and I will clarify that in just a second. So first one we have is The Fallen Star by Claudia Gray, my favorite Star Wars author. Very curious about that one. I'm very curious about all of these, and that one is going to be a Del Rey publication, so we assume it'll be in a novel. The next one is Eye of the Storm by Charles Soule, which he did the Light of the Jedi, the first kickoff book to the High Republic. This is a Marvel thing, so I'm assuming it's a comic book. Very interesting about that. That's very interesting. Then we have Mission to Disaster by Justina Ireland, Disney Lucasfilm Press. That should be a full-blown novel as well. And then Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older, which is also a Disney Lucasfilm Press. That's a cool title of the book, I will say that, Midnight Horizon. So 4 new books coming out, 4 new projects, I should say, coming out. I'm interested in this, man. This is interesting. That guy did a Tarkin deepfake too.
Yeah, he's done a few. When I was reading over something, I saw something with Robert Pattinson's Batman. They're doing a deep fake with that, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, obviously,
How?
being a DC,
That hasn't even come out yet.
I don't know. Unless he, I don't know. That's why I have to go back and check it later. All I saw was Robert Pattinson, and I saw the bat symbol from the movie next year, so that's going to pique my interest. So,
Huh? Interesting. And they do say he for Shamook, so I was right. It was a man.
okay.
All right, that's pretty much all the news. I can't ask your opinion on that High Republic stuff, but that does get me excited. They also said that this, by the way, this article was written by Alex, the old co-host of this podcast.
Oh, it was. Awesome.
Yeah, it was written by him. So that's not why I picked it, but that was just a good little plus. And I'm quoting his article now. He said, interestingly, it was also announced that this third publishing wave will close out Phase 1.
Ooh.
So this is good. And I think they're leading to what I have been saying for a while, which I don't really want to spoil it for you. So we'll have the conversation later. But just remind me that I had a point about this, and I've talked about it on another podcast too. So this record has been there about some certain characters that I think things are going to happen to. But all right, so we're going to do our top 10 list now that we're about 40 minutes into the show here. Thomas, why don't you tell them what we're talking about today on the top 10?
All right. Well, I can do that. And real quick, before I get into that, I just quickly looked on Shamook's channel. The deep fake is taking the Bale scenes and putting Pattinson's face on them.
The what scenes? Oh, Christian Bale. Bale scenes.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, Bale.
Interesting.
Bale, so
Does it look right?
definitely going to check. I mean, I just see the thumbnail, and it looks pretty crazy. So
I will say the one here with Luke, his face looks... There's a screenshot of this. I don't know, man. Like, he made his face look a little fatter. The eyes, I mean, it still looks fake to me. Like, it's not, to me, it's not mind-blowing. I need to see the whole video. I am judging from a, screenshot on my cell phone. But to me, it doesn't look anything like that much better. I mean, it still kind of looks weird. Like, the face almost looks more 3D in his version.
yeah.
Which I know sounds stupid because
watch the
it's...
video.
I will. I'm going to watch it once we get done with this.
Okay. So
Today, and this top 10 list actually spawned off from last show's top 10 list when we were talking about like favorite moments from the prequels. And we were just talking about lightsaber battles in general, just specifically the lightsaber battles improving into the prequels from what we saw from the OG trilogy. So it was just kind of like, hey, You want to do a top 10 lightsaber battles next time? And it was like, yeah, oh yeah, why not? That sounds like a great idea. So here we are. We're giving in to the light and, fulfilling our promise that we made on last podcast. So top 10 lightsaber battles. And Brad, I have two honorable mentions today. I am so sorry, but I have two of them.
So you can go first. I don't have any honorable mentions, actually, to be honest with you. Now, I don't know about what you did, but I chose anything in all of Star Wars media. And the rules that we had set for this was it can be any time a lightsaber has been used, but not as a tool. So, like, the example I gave you was, I mean, you could still use this scene technically, but when I say a tool, I mean like the way Qui-Gon used it as a, like that, like he was like melting the wall to try to get the door open. Nothing like that. Those are all incorporated into battles, but I was just kind of using it as a rule because there's certain things that couldn't have been included that may or may not be included if that rule wasn't in place, because there's some lightsaber fights that are, not necessarily lightsaber on lightsaber. So we just wanted to clarify that before. And also, I do want to say I think me and Evan have done this list before, but if we have, it's been a while, and I don't care because I wanted to do it again. Plus, you're not Evan, so it gives us more insight to your taste on Star Wars stuff. And
that's true.
I bet I know one of yours on your list.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. And it may or may not be a video game, and everything has to be canon, by the way. When it can't be anything, it can't be anything from Legends because that would be stupid. But all right. So since you have two honorable mentions, I will let you go first, and you can do your honorable mentions and then hop into your number 10.
All right. Let's do it. So I'll make the honorable mentions a little quick. So for this reason and this reason only, this battle lands on. And let me just say, me specifically, I did the main episodes only, including some bits and pieces here and there. Obviously, the video game one's gonna land on my list. So because you already called me out for it,
I knew it.
So pretty much main canon stories, and one of my honorable mentions is from Rebels, but I didn't want to necessarily dive into the Clone Wars and what we might have seen in Rebels too much. I wanted to stick to just the main story when I was putting this together. So that's those were my rules. But
I did not follow those rules, by the way. That was
that's okay.
He chose for himself. I have different rules for that. So
yes.
Just a heads up. So you can go, oh, actually, your number 8 wasn't in the original trilogy during any of the Star Wars movies, so it doesn't count. Shut up, stupid.
Yeah, and this will make the list a little bit more diverse, so you can suck my big red ass. By
the way, this episode brought to you by Grable Van Lines. If you need someone to, I don't know. I don't even know who you used, but that would be funny if it actually was them. They're the only people I know that actually do moving.
No, it was Mega Van Lines, and right now they're like a negative 27 stars on their review that I'm going to start typing for them once the podcast is over. So.
I just don't understand how you can go. We'll give you a 3-day window and then not deliver on a 3-day window, dude. If I was like, hey man, I might not be in on Monday, but I mean not necessarily. I'm not saying you, but I just mean like if you told your boss like, hey man, I might not be there on Monday, I might show up Wednesday, and you show up on Friday, like
we got a problem.
It's just insane. I don't understand. It's mind-boggling. But anyway.
We got a problem. But let's get to some Star Wars lists. So my first honorable mention, Yoda versus Dooku. And the only reason I put this battle on there is for the boss moment we get when Yoda so slightly and he's limping and he casually pulls that lightsaber from his belt. Like we never saw it before. I don't think we ever saw Yoda's lightsaber until that moment, right?
No, never. Nope.
Yeah. So that moment in itself is like, whoa.
Well, you may have seen it on. I say that, but you may have seen it on his hip at one point in the Phantom Menace, but I'm not sure about that.
I don't. Yeah, if we do, I've never caught it, and I've seen the Phantom Menace a few times, so it's like I've never caught it. So I want to believe that that's the first time we see it, which would be an awesome moment.
Yeah, that's why I love Star Wars. Dude. Now, next time we watch these movies, we have a reason to like look and like, oh no, it is in the first time, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's why Star Wars is awesome. One of the many reasons.
Heck yeah! Oh my God, I love it. So that's when we get that really great moment, and the reason it didn't make my main list is because what followed all that was hot vomit.
It's fair. I hate that. I hate that scene. I think we talked about it on the last episode. I hate it.
Yeah, we did. So my second honorable mention, which is my favorite of the two honorable mentions, is My only one from the animated series, but Obi-Wan versus Maul in Rebels, because of the incredible callbacks, and it's a rather short battle itself.
Yeah, it's
but
literally 3 seconds long.
yeah, but it's so intense. And my favorite parts of it, obviously, as Maul is taunting Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan doesn't say anything really until the very end. But Obi-Wan doesn't need to say anything. His actions speak for him, because the coolest part about this battle is he starts the stance after Maul ignites his lightsaber, Obi-Wan ignites his, and he jumps right into the Ewan McGregor stance from the prequels. And then it's like you see this, okay, this isn't the right approach to taking Maul. This is how I fought Maul the first time. And clearly he still survived. So he so elegantly switches to the Alec Guinness pose that we know of the original trilogy series. And then he's ready for Maul's attack, which is the same damn attack that he tried to take Qui-Gon, or that he successfully took Qui-Gon out with, and Obi-Wan was ready for it. And he killed him. I love that.
I love that fight. I remember when that came out, I was like, oh, they fought. Like I saw the clip before I saw the episode, which was annoying. Mm-hmm. But I remember being like, wait, that's it? That can't be the whole fight. And then I was like, oh God, it was. But it is a very powerful. It's like, for me, that almost like makes the prequels come full circle. At least for Obi-Wan, he finally gets the revenge on the person that killed his master that he loved so much. Have you happened to read Master and Apprentice?
No.
Dude, when you move here, I'm just going to give you all the books I have and go catch up.
Okay, I can do that.
Because there's so much stuff. That book is really interesting. It's not my favorite Star Wars book. It's written by Claudia Gray, she's my, like I just said before, she's my favorite author. It's not my favorite book from her, but it's really, really good for Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's relationship. I did want a little more out of it, but I think if you like them at all, you should read the book.
Okay.
Plus, I have the Star Wars Celebration exclusive cover. Woo!
Nice. Oh, hey, speaking of celebrations, were you at 2019?
Yep. Sure was.
Okay, there's a little bit from that 2019 celebration, the Fallen Order panel in that behind the scenes stuff, just FYI.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah, just a little bit of it.
Oh, that's cool. I was there. I was in that room.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to check. So, yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I was, we were on like the second level of that arena in the very back. Like, so it was almost like a movie theater. We were sitting in the very back. There was no one really around us. They really botched that, by the way. Those panels, that event was so crowded with people who couldn't get in because they did like they did virtual queues for everything. Dude, when you were in those arenas, like especially the Mandalorian one, it was so people wanted it so bad and couldn't get access to it because it was a lottery system and people just didn't show up for whatever reason because you didn't have to have a ticket to enter for the lottery. Go figure that one. So people just got.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude, it was. I love ReedPop. I love which is the company that puts on the conventions, and I hope that we can go back as media again. But I really think they need to get a grip on that because it was a fucking disaster. That's just constructive criticism. I mean, you can't have people who can sign up for something that don't have a ticket to go. I mean, imagine if you could just get park passes at Disney World without having an annual pass or a park ticket. I mean, that's insane. So it really screwed them over. I mean, I have video. That arena was not even close to full. I mean, it was bad. But that was such a fun. Dude, have you ever been to a Star Wars Celebration?
No, I have not.
Dude, you were going to freaking have dude, I cannot wait. I hope next year happens, man. I really, really do. Isn't that crazy that we're still going like, I hope it happens?
Yeah. Yeah, what a world we live in.
What a world. All right, what's your number 10, man?
Number 10 is the battle on Geonosis in Attack of the Clones. Like I said specifically, we can rag on Attack of the Clones all we want, but the prequels gave us, like we had made mention last week, some really, really great moments. And this is one of them. Outside of the C-3PO wailing around wearing the wrong body and the different head, I'm really not the biggest fan of that. I think it's kind of draws on and it's trying to insert comedy in a really epic moment. This is where Jango Fett dies, by the hands of Mace Windu, in Boba, obviously the tragedy that gives Boba Fett a backstory in a matter of 5 seconds, an angry Jedi running at a bounty hunter and just boop, there goes your head. And now you've orphaned a little child. Thank you very much, Mace.
It's unnecessary comedy for sure with C-3PO. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but you and I have spoken about this specifically, and one of my favorite parts, this tiny, really, obscure part about the battle that, Anakin is in this lightsaber battle with, I don't know, hundreds of other Jedis, maybe, as they're battling bugs and battle droids and Count Dooku eventually. But Anakin loses his saber yet again earlier on, maybe about 30 minutes before that battle happens, as him and Padme are trying to get out of like that factory before they get caught and tied up in that battle, field, circle, whatever you want to call it. So Anakin's saberless, right? And then all of a sudden, just some random Jedi tosses him a green lightsaber to use, right? I not only want this saber, sold at docks, because it'd be so cool to own this just random lightsaber that Anakin used from Attack of the Clones. I want to know whose it was.
Me too. Dude, I have the lightsaber book. I wonder if it's ever mentioned in that.
Oh, that would be so cool. You've got to check that out when you get a chance.
I will take it in tonight and see if it says anything about that. It's got to be somewhere. That someone has to know where that's from, right?
Right. I mean, you would think there's got to be some solid, like, heavy fan theories. I have to go back and see who threw it to him, if it was like a prominent Jedi.
Interesting. That's a good number. That's a good number 10. I mean, I've always thought that I think I even said in the last episode that like all the fighting in the prequel trilogy makes sense because you have people who are actually being trained.
Right.
Versus, the original trilogy is a guy who lived in was a hermit in the desert, and then he trained him for like 6 minutes, and then he blew up the Death Star. A New Hope is a really bad movie, by the way. I know that's sacrilegious to say because I'm such a big. And I love it still, but it's not a very good movie. It's so boring. All right, on to mine. Are you done? I'm sorry, I shouldn't say on to. Are you done?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
On to my number 10. It is the battle between Rey, Finn, and Kylo Ren on Ilum/Starkiller base at the very end of The Force Awakens.
That's a good one.
I love this scene, dude. It was one of my favorite moments of the entire sequel trilogy. The only thing I think about Star Wars movies that bug me a little bit is no one ever explains anything, like, between each other. Like, we know certain things, but like there's just stuff that doesn't I can't really think off my head think of any examples about this, but like, Rey never asked why that blue lightsaber belongs to Kylo Ren. Like, why does it belong to you? Like, who says it's yours? There's questions like that. Probably I'm like, wait, how does she just accept that?
Right.
But that lightsaber battle, dude, it's a weird thing because the movie is pretty light up until that point. Not a lot of bad stuff has really happened yet. And then that scene, it just takes a turn. And I love the novelization of The Force Awakens because they tell the story a little bit better. They make it very clear that Kylo Ren is fucking with Finn and that he's just toying with him. Because like when you watch it, you're like, how the hell does he even like hold his own against Kylo Ren? And it's because he was fucking with him. Like, oh, you think it's cute? And then that's why when he gets hit for a second, he lights him the fuck up because he was just like, oh, that's cute. Okay. Oh, ow, that hurt a little bit. It's almost like, you don't have any siblings, do you? Are you an only child?
Me? No. Oh God, no. I'm the oldest of four. I've got two younger sisters and a younger brother.
So you know how like when you were fighting with your younger brother and like he would like hit you and you'd be like you'd be playing and then he would actually land something and you'd be like, all right, well, I'm going to shut this shit down right now.
Yeah.
It's that kind of moment between the two of them. And then and then people forget, like, at that moment, Rey's not trained either. But also, neither was Luke. So, if you're going to give that critique, you got to critique Luke Skywalker, but you probably won't because you're a douche. But she gets the best of him because he got shot by Chewie in the last scene. By a weapon that they had set up and shown that was blasting people, like, up in the air, and he just took it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he took it right gut.
Right in the gut.
That was like... And
in real life, by the way, getting shot in the gut is like one of the worst places you can get shot because you can bleed out very easily because there's a lot of vitals there.
Yeah.
So, like, that's just showing how strong that dude is with the Force, that he was able to, like, hold his own against Rey. And I just love the ending. The first time I watched The Force Awakens, when she hit him in the face with the lightsaber, I was like, oh shit, did they kill off a villain? I was like, please don't do what you did in the prequels with Darth Maul, because at that point we didn't know. But I just love that scene, and plus, not to even mention the cinematography of it all with the snow and how they filmed it is really cool too. So if you ever want to go watch the Force Awakens bonus features, it's really worth watching. It's really cool.
I'm down. Nice. I like it.
It's a great scene.
Great scene, and it's an excellent segue into my number 9, which is the second time that Rey and Kylo Ren actually fight in a lightsaber battle, and I dubbed it their battle over Force time, as you guys so prominently put it. I love this battle for a lot of different reasons, but mainly specifically because they give us something in Rise of Skywalker that we've never seen before, like a battle of a real lightsaber battle over the Force. They're not in the same room. Remember, Rey is in Kylo Ren's quarters, and Kylo Ren is on oh my God, what is it?
Kijimi.
Yeah, Kijimi. He's on Kijimi, looking for Rey and everybody else, and realizes Rey gets up there when she realizes Chewie's alive. But in the quarters, they get connected by Force time and ignite sabers because they're so pissed at each other. This is such a prominent, pivotal moment because this is right before the big reveal that Rey's at Palpatine. So regardless of what you think of that particular moment, it's still a very big moment, and it finally tells us who Rey is, and it puts a lot of depth into the story regardless of what you think about it.
Yep. She's in my quarters. Lock down the ship.
Yeah, lock down the ship.
That's a good one, by the way. I forgot about that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just to wrap that one up real quick, I remember when I saw it for the first time, when Kylo said, "I'm gonna come find you," and I'm gonna tell you, or I'm gonna show you who you are. I'm gonna come find you. I remember being pretty pumped for that, specifically, like, oh crap, shit's about to go down. Like this is gonna be a big Star Wars moment.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, people are gonna go back to these movies the way they did the prequels, and within 5-10 years, they're gonna be like, wow, these movies are really good. Yes, they are really good. Is there some dumb shit in them? Yes. There is dumb shit in every Star Wars movie. Every single one. The only one that I think, honestly, doesn't have dumb shit in it is Rogue One.
I'm shocked to hear you say that.
I mean, okay, I take that back. Boogalette. The thing that,
yeah.
That's, I mean, it's not a prolonged thing. It's there for a few seconds, but yeah, there's nothing like stupid in Rogue One, and it's not even a good movie. But like, it's not bad. But like, I hate on it the way I hate on Epcot, which is kind of it's a character piece. I don't hate them either one like that. It's just, I'm kind of leaning into it. But Rogue One is not a great Star Wars movie. But like it doesn't have any of that stuff where you kind of go like I can think of in every Star Wars movie, there's a scene that I skip through because it's either boring or it doesn't add anything to it. Phantom Menace is any of the Trade Federation crap because I don't care. Attack of the Clones is the entire movie. Revenge of the Sith would be... I'd have to go back and rewatch it because I haven't seen it. The last time I saw Revenge of the Sith was when I did the 9-movie marathon at the movie theater for Rise of Skywalker. Rogue One, I can't really think of. Solo, I would do the whole Into the Maw thing. Stupid, don't need it. 4, I would say the anything on Tatooine with C-3PO when it's just the two of them and R2 and they're just wandering. It's boring. No one gives a shit. Empire Strikes Back, I would do the whole landing in the cave sequence. It's boring. Don't need it. Return of the Jedi.
Rancor.
Yeah, I like the Rancor though, but yeah, it's not necessary. That's kind of some of the things I like, but they're not necessary. Rancor is unnecessary. Episode 7 is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of these scenes, and it is for sure the Rathtar scene. I've only seen that.
Oh yeah.
I've only seen the Rathtar scene in its entirety twice, and it was because I saw it in theaters. Every time other than that, I would go to the bathroom or go get a refill on a Coke or whatever I was eating or drinking. Episode 8 is probably the most perfect Star Wars movie, but its Canto Bight is just boring. But only to a certain point. Like I think it would for me for the Canto Bight stuff. It starts with when they break out, and then like the whole father year scene. Like, I don't care about any of that. 9 would be. 9's a little tougher actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think there's anything I just don't need. Honestly, Lando. I know that's kind of controversial, but like you don't need it. You know what I would say? I would say the whole thing with the snake, them falling into the sand
Force
trap.
healing. Yeah.
I mean, you get that. You know, that's important. But like, if you know it already, I'm talking about on rewatches, by the way. If you watch it for the first time, you got to watch the whole thing. That's just how it goes. But
Well, yeah.
yeah, that whole scene is just kind of pointless. But that was a tangent, wasn't it? All right, let's move on to the next one. Is it my turn or your turn?
Your turn for number 9.
My turn
Only
for
at
number 9. Jesus Christ. My number 9 is Vader and Luke in Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. Followed closely by The Last Jedi for people who have never listened to the show before. But it is such a good scene, like such a good fight. You get to see Luke like fully as a Jedi. You get him, you know, with the consequences of learning that Vader's his father, and this is kind of how he handles it. He stands up to the Emperor at the end. It's just a perfect lightsaber battle. It's got everything you want.
No, it's absolutely spectacular. It's, you know, that's definitely my favorite movie from the OG trilogy. You know, for many reasons, but you know, it's my favorite version of Luke, and that fight itself, you know, the culmination, and eventually, you know, say it for what it's worth, turning Anakin at the end, finally finding the good in him, essentially, and Luke seeing the end and seeing who his father truly was. So big moment, huge.
This is a question I just burned myself, that I like to ask people who are fans of the sequel trilogy, because people who aren't don't really care. Do you think if they could have kept Kylo Ren alive?
Do I think they should have kept Kylo Ren alive?
Do you think they could have, like story-wise? Do you think it would have made sense?
No.
Okay.
No. Killed his father. I mean, among watching,
How many planets did Starkiller Base blow up in The Force Awakens when they tested it out? Like 5 or 6. Like he oversaw that shit. You know, no. I'd say no.
I always thought when I was watching that scene, because they show him like on the bridge of the Finalizer. Is it the Finalizer? Yeah, that's his ship, right? The Finalizer?
Yep, I think so.
I always thought he kind of looks kind of sad in that scene. I know it's hard because it's one thing the Mandalorian did very well was showing like emotion behind a mask where you couldn't see any face, but you could still feel the emotion. For whatever reason, every time I watch that scene, I kind of feel like he looks like, oh shit, what am I doing? I don't know why. But every time I watch that dude, I just kind of look at him like, oh, this is not what he wants. I remember thinking that when I was watching The Force Awakens for the first time. I was like, that's not, I can't place what it is. It's almost like his head's kind of like bowed a little bit, and he's kind of like he's looking at it, but kind of, I don't know. It's a theory that I've always had, but I feel like he didn't want to do that.
I mean, if you make staunch comparisons, like I feel like if Vader oversaw that, Vader would just be like arms crossed, looking very defiant. And if I remember correctly, Kylo's arms were just kind of down, and maybe he was hunched over just a tad.
Yeah, I feel like he's almost like hanging. I need to go back and watch it, but I remember thinking that first time I was like, oh, I remember that's the scene, because I was saying after that moment that they were going to turn Kylo Ren. They're like, he's going to turn. I read that for whatever reason. I would love to, if I could ask J.J. Abrams one question, it would be that question.
Okay.
Because I'm just like, I've always been confused by that, because it could just be me reading into it, but I thought it at the time, so it's not like I knew that was happening. I don't know. I've always thought that was a weird thing for him to like kind of look somber, and I want to go back and watch it now, see if I'm just misremembering or if that's how I remembered it. But who knows? All right, my number 8, and I really wanted to put this one higher, but for me to do that, I would have had to move one of these, and I don't think for me personally it could match them as far as quality and cinematography and what's the word when you have I got some of this word last week too. When you plan a fight, choreography. There you go.
Choreography.
The choreography for me is better and everything else in this. But It is Luke's appearance in The Mandalorian.
Good one.
Dude,
Yeah.
it is... Dude, you can ask Evan, man. When that was happening, I was in tears. I was so happy that they did that. It made me so happy. It was one of my favorite Star Wars moments of all time. And it just... I love it so much. It is just such a cool moment. It gives you what everyone wanted from Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, but you don't really pay attention to the movie. That's why you don't like the movie. But it's just such a pure, awesome moment. I love it so much. I think it's one of the coolest. And I'm calling it a lightsaber fight because it is.
Yeah.
He uses his lightsaber to destroy those guys, so it's a lightsaber fight by the rules of our list. But I could not include it. But I wanted to put it a little higher. But everything else to me has a little bit more consequence. So that's why I put that one at number 8 because it's just a great lightsaber moment.
Yes, it is. It 100% is, and it's not on my list, but I'm glad you put it on yours because it needs to be recognized as definitely in somebody's top 10. So.
Nice.
My number 8, again, something from Attack of the Clones, but I am a Stanikin, so the first time that Anakin and Obi-Wan fight Count Dooku, you could say what you want about the choreography of this. We see a couple of up-close shots of the two of them in their face. It feels different from any of the other lightsaber battles, but then again, I think we're working with what they had to work with because I believe, and help me out if you know Count Dooku's actor's name. Do you know off the top of your head?
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. He was like 80, right? When
Yes.
they filmed that?
I don't know if he was quite that old, but he was definitely old.
Yeah, he was older, and like Count Dooku. I said it on last show. One of my favorite things out of the prequels. But then again,
And
this
don't
is
you now own Count Dooku's lightsaber?
I do. I
Hell
got it
yeah.
when I was at Hollywood Studios on Batuu last trip. And it's badass. It's so badass.
It's
I
such a
love
good
it.
one. It's so heavy. I love it. I
Yeah,
love the heavy ones, but I also love the light ones. It's very confusing. I'm like, it
You
feels
take
so
the
heavy.
light ones to the parks. You keep the heavy ones at home.
Absolutely, dude. There's nothing worse than when you're walking through the parks and it's hot and you have a heavy ass lightsaber just pulling you down the whole time. I hate it. I almost only take Obi-Wans to the park for real.
Okay. That's
I'm
fair.
sorry, I didn't mean to
That's
interrupt
fair.
you.
No, you're good. You're good. I was getting around to this being a big lesson learned for Anakin. Loses his hand, obviously, and
It's almost like his whole
one of the-
arm, isn't it?
yeah, right. It's a good amount. I don't know. It's not the whole arm, but maybe it's like more of a forearm than Luke loses.
Because I remember it being like almost up to his elbow.
Was it that bad? Jeez.
I don't remember, dude. This is from Attack of the Clones. I've seen the movie twice, so
I know, but
I actually
you
even
will
fell
recall-
asleep. I fell asleep in it when I did the nine movie marathon. So I literally do not remember anything about the movie. I just remember it like in my head. That's where it was.
Well, he gets one of the cooler things of my final thought of this battle is Anakin gets to use two sabers at once. Before he loses part of his arm, he basically he's still using that green saber that he got in the Battle of Geonosis, and then he takes Obi-Wan's saber because Obi-Wan, I believe, is like trapped under a rock or something. But
That's so
it's a
funny
cool
because
little
I don't.
moment.
He must have had that thing for a while because this. I don't remember. See, I need to go back and watch this movie, dude. I don't remember him using a green lightsaber at all. How about that?
Oh wow, yeah,
That's nuts.
used it twice. But I just think it's a cool little, Anakin history with that green lightsaber. So that returns for me. What's your number 7?
My number 7 is Obi-Wan and Vader from A New Hope. I know I just kind of trashed this movie a little bit. But to me, especially when you watch it in the context... Oh, crap. Hang on. Oh, okay, we're good. Sorry, my headphones started crackling. When you watch this in the context of... in 1977, we didn't have the context of the prequels and what all that meant, right? But when you get to watch it as somebody who knows the outcome of all those events, it means so much more because it is such a simple lightsaber fight. There's not a lot of, especially if you watch like the behind the scenes of how they filmed it, it was a tough fight for them. Like they broke stuff all the time. It was a rough go, but it's just such a great scene for Vader and Anakin to have this confrontation after so long that it had to be on my list. Like it couldn't not be. So I had to put this one on there. It's just such a solid lightsaber fight. It's the original lightsaber fight. So there's no way I couldn't include this on the list. And I don't know if you can still hear me because my headphones went out.
I can.
Let me see if I can fix those real quick. I talked the whole time, not even knowing if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
So this is fantastic. Oh, the world famous Jedi talk. I can't even hear myself. I hope it's all still working. I'm going to keep mumbling to myself here for a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, I can definitely hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. It's just a short in the headphones. I got to get new headphones. Oh, there we go. I can hear you. Fantastic.
Yay.
There we go. All right, yeah. That's why it's on my list, man. I had to put it on there. How do you feel about that one? Is that don't spoil it. I don't even know if it's on your list. If it is on your list, don't reveal it. But I'm wondering if you feel the same way I do about that fight.
Probably not as like intense, I would say, as you. It did not end up on my list.
What?
Particularly, it's not because I hate it. It's not because I obviously don't overly love it. I think my problem is I subconsciously can't get out of my head that like we've seen just aesthetically pleasing lightsaber battles, and then you look at that one, right? Don't forget, I'm probably going to lean more towards the sequel trilogy as far as what I relate to more than anything with these. So it's maybe a little
totally
biased.
valid. No, I totally get it, but like I think it was just because like I don't even know like if I even realized as a kid while I'm watching that for the first time if I even realized that like lightsabers were for fighting.
Yeah.
And then you see him fight, and then you're like, "What? It's a sword?" Because like you only see him like deflect. Because okay, so let me just remember this, right? So if I'm remembering correct, the lightsaber. The only time you see a lightsaber is they say it's a weapon, right? So you know it's some sort of weapon. I assume you would think it's a sword because you're not, severely, stupid.
Yep.
But it, I don't know. I just don't think it clicked with me until I saw them fight. That like that's what you would use a lightsaber for. I don't know. You saw him like deflect blaster bolts, and that's the only other lightsaber, like anything in A New Hope, right?
I don't think it does anything up until that point, if that's what you're alluding to, right?
Yeah, like it's just he's just using it to like train with.
That's it. Yeah, he's just training with it, and I think he ignites it like once beforehand. But yeah, you finally get to see what it's truly used for.
Oh, that's not true. That is not true. The cantina scene.
Oh, duh. Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah. The cantina scene. Duh. Yeah. Okay, so you definitely know it's like dangerous.
Yeah, he murks that dude's arm right off.
Ponda Baba.
Yeah.
Coming soon to the Black Series line with the Power of the Force 2 card back. Very exciting. Sorry, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's Star Wars, action figure collecting talk.
Toys.
I'm in that world now. By the way, did I send you the picture of how I changed up the stuff in the podcast? I call it a studio. It's not a studio. It's where we sit and hang out, and it's hot. But it's where I do the podcast. But it looks so much better.
Yeah, you did. Looks good.
You saw it before. It's gonna, dude. When I'm done with all this, it's gonna look fantastic in here. I have an idea too of what to do because I'm gonna be here for another year, I think. So I have an idea of what I'm gonna do with the walls in here because it looks really bad. The wood in here just looks really stupid. So I have an idea of what I'm gonna do with it. But okay, moving on to I guess it's your number 6.
My number 7, actually.
Oh, 7. Wait, how's it 7?
I think you.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I went back to back.
You did, yeah. I don't know how it happened. It just happened. Whatever.
Whoops.
Just happened.
All right, we'll get back on track here. So you do your number 7 and then your number 6.
All right, I got you. I'll make it a little quick because we have talked about this number 7, and it probably lands a little bit higher on your list specifically, or lower depending who you are and how you look at these lists. Luke versus Vader and Empire. So obviously the first time the two of them face off. I mean, do I really need to tell you how big of a moment this is if you are into Star Wars at all? I mean, even if you're, the only person that saw Episode 5 That's the only Star Wars movie that you know and you think it's the greatest thing ever. You're going to know the revealing of, and spoiler alert, by the way, that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
Spoiler. God, dude, why would you ruin that for people?
And it obviously happens in the culmination of a very, very good lightsaber battle. You know, the best out of the OG trilogy, in my honest, humble opinion, specifically because I love how Vader just kind of taunts Luke a little bit, you know, as they're walking around, and he's just kind of stalking him. It's like Vader realizes, okay, Luke is a lot more powerful than the Emperor, thinks he is. You know, he's got something in him. I can see a little bit of myself in him. So he's checking him out, and I think this is kind of like, you know, prey or predator stalking your prey mentality. So you get a real villain feel out of it.
Most impressive. And then it's like, it's the first, and I really kind of think only other than the one in the prequels from Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, where they use the Force on each other during the fight.
Yeah.
It's definitely the first and only one in the original trilogy. Because they don't do it in A New Hope. He does it only in Empire Strikes Back, and not again until the Emperor lights up Luke with the Force lightning.
Wow.
Right?
I think you're right.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. I mean, Luke doesn't... Yeah. You know what's funny? I remember people saying that after Last Jedi came out and there was no lightsaber on lightsaber fighting in that movie, they're like, we need more lightsaber fights like in the original trilogy. And there's really not that many in the original trilogy.
No.
There's 3 of them. And I think it's a good thing, because I think the prequels overdid the action side of it. But I digress.
I can see that
digress. All right, what's your number 6?
6 is the official name is escaping me. I don't know what happened in the notes I took, but a lot of people call it the Red Room scene. Obviously, this is when, you know, Kylo and Rey take on the royal. It's not. It's Snoke's. Is it his royal guard?
The Praetorian Guards.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking for. So they, you know, this is a big. This is essentially when Kylo becomes supreme leader, right? When he takes out Snoke in one of the most epic ways ever. And you can go get fucked, Kyle, about your thoughts on The Last Jedi. But the way Snoke dies with the ignition of the lightsaber at his side, like, that is so fucking cool.
It's awesome. It's the shit. And the whole time he's not even seeing it because he's so arrogant. It's literally, it's the parallel to the Jedi, right? You become so arrogant, you think you know everything, and the next thing you know, you're done.
Exactly. And then after that, Rey and Kylo together go on to take on some pretty well-trained guards, but eventually, in the end, win out. And, you know, he's still Kylo, but we see little Ben going nuts there with Rey. We got our first taste of it. A great action scene altogether. That eventually, obviously, Kylo reached out his hand to Rey. She never took it. And, you know, big scene.
And thus Reylos were born.
Thus Reylos were born.
Ugh, gross.
What's the craziest Reylo theory you've ever heard?
I see pictures a lot. I see pictures a lot from on Instagram. I'm just going to say on Instagram. And not because I want to, but because they come across my feed, I'll just say. And I saw one of like Ben lived and they had like a kid. I don't understand the Reylo thing. I really, really do not. Can someone please explain to me what that's about? Like, you just want them to be together? I don't understand. Is that what it is?
It is. It's like they want them to live together, and I've seen like the craziest theories I've seen, and that made me shut down Twitter for the day was. By the way, I'm not on Twitter anymore, but this was back in the day when I was on it. Somebody specifically was like, "Oh, I have this theory that Ben force impregnated Rey before he died, and Rey's going to have their child." And I was like, that's enough internet for today.
Well, you know, if it didn't,
please God, no.
If I don't think that happened at all, because then it would be force rape, which is redundant. But like, it has a precedent though, right? With Anakin. I mean, they've pretty much all but said that Palpatine created Anakin. I mean, there's a comic book that essentially goes like he all but goes like it was me. So it's stupid and horrible, but there is a precedent for it. And if you're being objective, you have to go with what's been established, and that's been established. Which is why I hate Thor Ragnarok. Anyway,
I'm gonna end.
I don't
and
want
piss
it.
off the Raylos. No, I know. I'm gonna end that thought and by pissing off the Raylos and just by saying Finn and Rey made more sense than Rey and Ben did.
absolutely. Well, no, dude, 100%, 100%. Like. Yeah. You think he like my thing is like every time like his first words when he's waking up from getting completely fucked up by Kylo Ren is "Where's Rey?"
Yep.
And it's just that would have been a great, or even like they should have done more with the love triangle that was set between her, Poe, and Finn. But like they didn't want to do it because they had a strong woman. Like since when does being a strong woman mean you don't have companionship? I don't understand it. Why they're mutually exclusive. I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man. Well, no one needs anyone else. I mean, you kind of do because you're a human being and we thrive on being around each other. But which is why the pandemic has been so hard for so many people. But like, it's so stupid to be like she can be strong and in a relationship. Like that's just such a dumb thing to say. I don't know. It was dumb. But I think they should have done more with. Because they kind of did have in the original trilogy the love triangle between Han, Luke, and Leia. Now eventually Leia became Luke's sister, blah blah blah. But that was set up. I mean, she kissed him in Empire, dude, halfway through the franchise. I just want to say this: if the twist that came in the sequel trilogy mirrored exactly the twist from the prequel, like if we found out that Finn and Rey were like clones of like they were brother and sister, people would have lost their shit. And it's just so stupid that, like, I love Star Wars, but we can't, like, pretend these movies are, like, not full of flaws. They are. And that the flaws are what make it fun. Like, we should embrace the flaws. Like, I think that the fact that the Emperor came back for no reason is dumb as shit. But it's fun. Because then, truly, I think we'll get back on track in a second, but I truly think Star Wars intentionally writes plot holes so they can fill those stories up in other mediums.
Mm-hmm.
I think they truly do that. Clone Wars is a great example. Novels, comic books. You have to have some sort of thing. You can't just like retell the same story over and over again.
You gotta keep the story moving. You can't make movies every year.
Yeah. So it's all right. Moving to, I guess, is it my turn now? My number 5.
It is you, sir. Yes.
You should have stopped me last time. I didn't want to double dip
you're
there.
good.
My number 5 is Rey and Kylo Ren from Episode 9. I think it's one of the most well-done lightsaber fights in the context of the choreography and the cinematography, especially in the scene. That scene where he walks out of like the mist with the water and you see the glow of his lightsaber before you even see him is one. I want that as a poster. Like, it is one of the coolest fucking shots in all of Star Wars. Do you know this? You know the shot I'm talking about?
Heck yeah.
Dude, it's fucking awesome. Seeing her use... I wish we just would have seen her train a little bit more. Like, I know we will eventually, but like I just wish we'd have seen Rey train a little bit more. I mean, we saw... Well, I guess we saw her in Last Jedi train, didn't we?
We did.
Train about as much as Luke did with Yoda.
We see Rey train more than Luke.
I bet screen time, I bet you're absolutely right.
Yeah. At least I feel like we do. I feel like we see her train more because
Rey and Luke are parallels. I mean, she tries to go save Ben. She leaves to go save Ben. Luke left to go save Han and Leia. It's essentially the same thing, except she's going, "Hey, you fucked up, Luke. You could have had this like very powerful ally on your side, but you let your fears get the best of you," which I think is the whole. I've said it before. I think the whole theme of The Last Jedi is failure. And how you come back from it, which we all need. And I think that's why this generation didn't like that movie, because everything has to be a success and everything has to be great. You're not allowed to fail anymore. Yeah, we can talk more about that on another episode. But it drives me nuts that people don't love that. But I don't know. Going back to my number 5, they just that shot in 9 with them fighting each other is just so freaking epic.
Incredible. Yeah, and we could have just used the force healing there instead of having to do it with the snake. To your callback to your point earlier.
Yeah, for sure. And because we also saw it in The Mandalorian that week.
That Wednesday.
I remember watching that and going, well, they're going to use that for sure in episode 9.
Oh yeah.
That's why they showed it early. So people
Figured,
watched it and they went to see that. But all right, man, what is your number 4?
We somehow fucked up again. I don't think I gave my number 5. Do you remember my?
Oh shit! I'm sorry. No, you did, right?
No,
I shouldn't be ahead of you. You should be the one leading these.
I know. Did you give your 6? What's your number 6?
That's what I didn't do. Shit! I skipped that one. Damn it!
Okay,
I'm glad you
real
said something
quick, what's
because
your 6?
my number 6 is Vader and Ahsoka from Rebels.
Oh God, yes. So much of this.
I skipped past it. So what I'm doing is I'm like kind of scrolling past them when I do it, and I actually skip past because they're numbered wrong. I scrolled past 6, but yeah, the Ahsoka and Vader. We've talked. I can't believe I did this again. What a fucking idiot. Yeah, that lightsaber fight is so amazing, and that I honestly think like if I'm just taking away like from this, if I'm just taking consequences away from this, like and ramifications, that is almost one of the best Star Wars, not only lightsaber fights, but moments in all of Star Wars. I mean, like, if you look at just their relationship and like how close they were, and then for her to realize and also be the first to realize that he is still alive and is Vader is chilling.
Absolutely.
It is
especially
just
with her connection.
Oh
like
my God.
Anakin.
My dad knows like Rebels like peripherally, like he knows the characters, he knows the stories, he kind of knows what goes on. I was like, have you ever seen the fight between her and Vader? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, well, let me show you. And my dad, who just watched it out of context, was like, holy shit, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's the shit. That fight is awesome. I love it. I love that fight so much.
It is probably. I mean, it's probably my favorite out of Rebels, even though it didn't make my list. It's there. God,
to me,
there.
it's the only
So
one
good.
that I even remember from Rebels. Like I know that Vader and Ezra fought at one point, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Was that the same fight?
Yes. Yeah, Ezra tries, but Ahsoka basically steps in and is like, you can't stand up to this guy. I got him.
That's right. God, it's such a great scene. If you're listening to this and you have never watched it, as long as you know who Ahsoka is and like understand their relationship, even on a peripheral level, if you go and just watch that isolated scene on YouTube, I'm telling you, you're going to be in for a treat. It's really, really well done.
Yep.
And then like,
So what makes
spoiler if you haven't seen it. Then when she hits she hits him in the face, and how she finds out that it's him, and you can kind of hear his voice. It's like half his voice, half modulated. Oh my God, it gets me every time. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I love it. It's so good.
so good. Yeah, Rebels. Watch it if you haven't. If you watch the Clone Wars and said, "No, I don't like this. I'm not going to give Rebels a chance." Rebels is so much better. Like we said,
It's way
before,
better.
so.
It's not even close. And it's to me, it's the best animated Star Wars show that they've done.
Yep, absolutely agreed. All right, I'll do number 5 and 4 real quick to get back on track, so you can give your 4 after mine. My number 5 is when in Revenge of the Sith, when Count Dooku's head goes choppy choppy goodbye. Do it.
Do it.
And the actual fight itself might not be the best, but it lands at number 5 for me specifically for this is yet another turning moment in Anakin's future of basically coaxing him over to the dark side and giving him more and more conflict. He said it straight up to Palpatine. He's like, this isn't right. I know it's not right. I know I shouldn't do it, but he eventually does it anyway. So it's basically, we all know he was going to turn, but it's just seeing these pivotal moments is such a big deal. And it makes sense, killing all the Tusken Raiders, killing Count Dooku when he should have, taken down Count Dooku it eventually came back, and he had to fight the same battle when he was in front of Mace and the Emperor. So, yeah, big moment for Anakin, the last in a long stretch of pivotal moments before he turned into Space Hitler.
Yeah, that to me is like literally the first step into him going to the dark. I mean, like that one is, and like the way that he afterwards talks him into, like, you did the right thing. It's just so unsettling, and that's true evil too. By the way, true evil isn't, even the people who are like truly evil. There's a stepping stone, right? It's not you're not like just inherently, unless you're just a psycho, you're not like inherently a bad person for the most part. There's always like some sort of catalyst, and that's like the catalyst for Anakin being a Sith Lord. That's how it starts. It's these little minor deceptions. It's like when you see somebody in a bad relationship, and it's like it slowly deteriorates over. It very rarely do you see someone who like starts dating somebody and then they just like from day one they start getting the shit beat out of them, and then I'm being very extreme, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular, by the way, just for the record. But I'm just saying, like, you see someone start dating somebody, and it's very rarely do you see that just from day one they're just being abusive. Usually people walk away. People who are manipulative take a long, slow approach, and that's how Palpatine did. I mean, he started when he was a kid. They'll watch your career with great interest.
Sure did.
It's
brainwashed.
It's unsettling.
Indoctrinated from a young age.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nowadays you just go on Twitter and that'll happen.
Yo.
Or watch CNN. Or even like, any news that's mainstream.
Any
to be real with
media
you. I mean,
outlet. Like,
Fox is just as bad. Let's be real.
Oh, they're all spewing fear.
Yeah,
It's all crap.
It's all bullshit.
But
Like,
you know what's not
George
crap?
Carlin's my favorite George Carlin special is called "It's All Bullshit and It's Bad for You."
Yep.
Talk about a dude that was ahead of his time, dude. You can listen, dude. Anyone who doesn't know who's never listened, this is not Star Wars related at all. But if you go back and listen to anything Carlin said, it was relevant then, but it's almost like this dude was like sent from the future to be like, this shit's getting out of hand quick. Like, it almost seems like he time traveled. If you go back, everything he says is applicable today. He's like a sage. Carlin it was my favorite comic of all time, and for me it's Carlin and Burr. They're my number one and number two. I'm so excited to have a Bill Burr action figure. I cannot wait.
That's cool.
But dude, I can't wait. I'm gonna have him sign it. I'm gonna send it to him. Have him sign it. I cannot wait. But like, he literally called everything. Like everything. Like, it's a slippery slope. Anyway, go listen to George Carlin, man. He's the GOAT. Is it your turn, or you did your 4, right?
Yeah, mine.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll catch up with number 4. So, number 4, you called me out earlier for this landing on my list, but number 4 is a Fallen Order lightsaber battle.
I am surprised this wasn't number 1.
Yes. So it's.
Can I predict?
Sure.
I'm torn between two of them. It's gotta be Cal and the Night Sister, which leads into Vader.
Yep.
Not Night Sister. The Inquisitor.
Yeah.
I said Night
No,
Sister.
you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Second sister.
Second Sister. That's what it is. By the way, dude, I sent you the picture of the day, right? The Second Sister's helmet is in Doc Ondar's.
Yeah, you said that to me a couple of days ago, and that's when you don't think that's always been there, right?
I don't remember. It's one of the things where like I may have like there's so much shit in that store that I feel like I've because I know I've seen Mando's helmets there, and then his weapon is there too. I don't remember. I feel like it might have. I have to go back and look at photos I took because I have so many photos from Doc Ondar's. I'll have to go look. It might have been. Okay. But if it has, that doesn't really make sense because when did Fallen Order came out before Galaxy's Edge, right?
2019 in like June, I think. June or September.
So it's like the same year. So
yeah, same year.
Yeah, okay. So they may have just had it incorporated over there. I need to go see Disneyland's because I don't remember what's all at Disneyland. I'm hopefully going back very, very soon, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm surprised that one wasn't higher on your list, to be perfectly honest with you. But that's I loved that game the second time around. I don't know if I just hadn't, because I bought an Xbox for that game, so I hadn't played video games in a long time. So I don't wonder if I was just like, I didn't like the game because I was kind of new to video games, and I just was like, just give me the cutscenes. I don't want to roll this marble around this stupid temple. Oh, also, too, the second time around, I figured out how to use the map, so everything was way easier.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That'll help. But yeah, this Cal versus the second sister is just the yes, it's the culmination of the whole video game. And no, it's not my favorite because of the Vader piece to it. That's just the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Right? That
Vader's
when
actually
Vader,
unnecessary in that a little bit.
He is. You don't really need him, but I'd be lying to say if I wasn't happy that I put it in the game. I think it's cool. So, because it's the culmination, because when you fight her the first time, when you still got your first lightsaber, when you're getting off of Braca, like, you cannot hold a candle to her. She is beating the living hell out of you, right? And then you fight her for a second time when you are in Cordova's, one of his many mysteries of finding the holocron. You fight her again, and BD-1 kind of saves your ass, and you're better that second time, but BD-1 bails you out of a bad situation. So finally, after everything Cal's been through, he's visited Elam already. He got his new saber. He got a new Kyber crystal. He's a Jedi Knight now, and he takes her on, and he's finally up to the task. And obviously, you finally are in a real battle against this Inquisitor who's been hunting you down the whole game. So it comes up to the end, very much so. You defeat her. You don't go to kill her. Cal's not about that. And then Vader decides to take her out. He doesn't have to. Yeah.
Also, like, not only chasing him, but like using him as a tool. She uses him to like find certain things out that, like, doesn't she like use him to go to a certain planet? And I'm trying not to ruin it, but I'm also trying to remember what it was. Doesn't she use him to like go to a planet where he finds out something? She finds out that he was like looking for the holocron and takes it from him.
Yeah, but she's basically taunting him along in all the hard work that he's doing to get to the holocron. She's basically like right behind every lock and key. The Ninth Sister tries to kill Cal on Kashyyyk before any of that anyway, and then the Ninth Sister, or not Ninth Sister, the Second Sister, I always get those two mixed up, eventually just was like, well, I'll let you do all the work and eventually steal the holocron from you.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was remembering. It was the holocron. What a good game! I'm really hoping for a sequel. I just don't know where you go from here, and not mess up Star Wars. That's my only concern. Like, because we're getting real close to like parallel stuff that he should have shown up in if he was still around. I think if you do a sequel, that's it. You got to have two, and then he's got to go. Maybe Vader comes back, takes him out. Something's got to happen because he can't be around with the events of everything that happened and not show up and make a difference.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I get it. And I don't know. I don't know if this is done on purpose, but his voice doesn't call out to Rey at the end of episode 9.
But it should. That's the thing that no matter what happens to him, it should, because Ahsoka didn't die and she spoke to Rey.
We don't know if
Well, that's true. She might be dead at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's not likely, but who
right.
knows? Who knows?
And
where is she, by the way? Like, where's she? So she must have died, actually, now that I think about it. That timeline is so... I wish they would just give, like, an official... Like, there's episodes of... I think Star Wars Explained has, like, the whole canon timeline, and they update it anytime something new comes out for media. And it's fascinating, because you can watch a whole hour episode of the history of the Star Wars universe. And it's like in pretty good detail. If you've never watched it, and Tom, I'm talking to you too, if you've never watched it, you should definitely watch it. It's really, really cool.
All right.
All right. So my number 4 actually changed while you were talking about Cal. And the reason I changed it was because you brought up something, and I was like, how'd that not make my list? And so my 4 initially, I guess it's technically my 4. I guess I do have an honorable mention now that we're almost done with the list. But my number 4 was Vader and Luke from Empire Strikes Back, but I changed it because I couldn't have said it better than you did. But I changed it to Darth Vader in Rogue One.
I
had to put it on the list once I thought about it, because you talking about Vader. I was like, how did neither one of us say that? You may have it on your list, but I don't know if you do. Don't tell me if you do or don't. But I had to put it on there because it's just such an iconic scene, and it's also just proof that reshoots are not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just such a dope-ass scene. It's the best part of that movie by far. I don't have too much to say about it. It speaks for itself. Go watch it. Just watching him murk shit is awesome. The only thing I have a little bit of an issue with is like the contrast between him at the end of Rogue One to the beginning of A New Hope. But they didn't make him do like flips or anything. He wasn't like, Palpatine spinning through the air, taking people out. He was just kind of slowly. He wasn't even running. He was just slowly, like, just killing this dude. So it was.
Yeah.
It had to get on the list. It had to. I'm gonna throw it to you. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is the Duel of the Fates: Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul in Phantom Menace. I'm not going to say too much about this because I said a lot about this as my top favorite prequel moment, but this is essentially, literally, as the song is called, the Duel of the Fates. Who knows? Who knows? If Maul dies before Qui-Gon does, who knows what happens to Anakin? That's why that's why they call it what they call it. But yeah. Just I won't add anything more to that because I feel like I'd be talking over it. And as a Star Wars fan, you should know how pivotal this fight is for many, many reasons.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest. It's what else can be said? It's
right,
perfect.
exactly. Yeah, I feel like I'd be doing it a disservice if I tried to say any more than I've already have in the past 2 weeks.
Right. My number 3 is from The Last Jedi, the Praetorian Guard scene. I've seen a lot of people, critique this scene after it had come out, and like the cinema, and they have valid points. Like some of the stuff that got captured in camera is not the greatest. They've seen people like standing there, things that are not realistic. But who gives a fuck? You know what else isn't realistic? Someone using the Force. So if we're gonna go down that route, then we can go down that route. It is one of the coolest moments I've ever had in a movie theater. Because, like, the thing about it is, like, we see it happening. Snoke doesn't see it happening, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere for him. We see it happening on screen, and it is just... It's one of my favorite Star Wars scenes of all time. It could not be included in that. I was trying so hard not to say this because I knew this was coming up on my list, but my favorite shot of the entire thing is when Kylo Ren's about to get choked out by that one Praetorian Guard that finally grabs him. And... Rey tosses her the blue saber. I'm not saying her saber. Tosses the blue saber to him, and he takes it. And he goes, Psh! And he turns it on, and it lights in that dude's face. If you go back and watch the making of, it's called "Director and the Jedi." It's one of the greatest Star Wars documentaries ever made.
Ooh.
And they talk about how many times they tried to get that smoke to look just right. It is such a sinister scene where it's almost like you're laughing, but you're like, damn, that's harsh.
Yeah.
It's so badass. It is one of the coolest lightsaber fights in all of Star Wars. It's
awesome.
It's
So cool.
it's number 3.
Yeah.
I love it.
Couldn't agree more. My number 2 is Anakin versus Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. You Will Try, which is probably my favorite... I don't know why.
It's my number 2 as well, so I figured we can just go ahead and talk about it here. It's my number 2 also.
Yeah, there you go. So
we'll just get it out of the way.
Again,
it's everything.
It is everything, and it's arguably it's not obviously it's not my number 1, but it's arguably the best lightsaber battle we're given in all of Star Wars.
I think
you
so
can
too.
make a great argument for it. Yeah.
I think the only thing that hinders it being from number 1 is how long it is. It's like, okay, let's wrap this up. And they're swinging on cables at one point.
Oh, well, if you were to essentially not include the Yoda force wiping the 2 guards and then his subsequent growling battle against Palpatine, then if you were just to show that shot from shot as long as it is, do you know what I mean? Instead of because they always they were cutting into that lightsaber battle, or do you still think it's too long even if you just watch it?
It's like 17 minutes, isn't it?
The whole scene?
I
know it's long.
Yeah, isn't it? Maybe it's not quite that long, but it is a... You know what? Let me see. You can look up on YouTube, just the isolated fight. Anakin, Obi-Wan fight. It is... Oh, it's not as long as I thought. 6 minutes and 45 seconds. That's with everything cut out of it. I mean, that's still an insane amount of time for a lightsaber fight. That's the longest one for sure, right?
Yeah. Oh, I would have to think so. Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible, but that's the only knock on it is that it's just a little too over the top. But the prequels were over the top, so it fits in with the tone that they had established already for those films. So what are you gonna do? It's one of the coolest things. I talked last week about the only thing that really bothers me from it is when I think it's Obi-Wan and Anakin, they like jump on the droid that's like mining for molten lava, and it doesn't make any sense, but what are you going to do? It's still one of the coolest things, and like just the cinematography for that is really cool, and the choreography for that is really cool. The only other knock I would have on it would be that it almost looks like it's choreographed.
Okay.
Yeah, and nothing else can be said about it. It's one of the greatest lightsaber scenes in all of Star Wars.
Yes, sir.
I'm so curious what your number one is, because I feel like I thought it would have been Duel of the Fates, because I just would have thought that's what it was going to be, and I'm very curious to know which number one is. So, Tom, please give me a number one.
Man, is our number one the same? I don't think you mentioned this one already, but
it's not the same.
No, okay. So my number one, and it's going to piss a lot of people off, especially Kyle Cosentino. Yep, Kyle, you got Jedi talked again. But it is Kylo Ren versus Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi.
I can't believe I didn't put it on my list.
I'm a little shocked you didn't too, but can we just talk on how fucking cool this lightsaber battle is? Not only is I think it's Luke is mirroring the same fight pattern that Rey was when she was training at the Rock earlier in the movie. There's just so many badass things going on, and you could see the hate, you could see the aggression, you could see the passion in Kylo. He just wants Luke dead. He wants Luke's head on a platter, and he wants to drink out of it. He wants to bathe in Luke Skywalker's blood.
He wants a Luke Skull souvenir mug.
Thank you. Yes. He wants to be made into a tiki mug, and he wants to pay a lot of money for it at Trader Sam's. So
that's awesome. $45 for the bloody Luke Rancor mug.
I'd buy it. So
I've bought dumber things.
We get this aggression out of Kylo, but then you don't necessarily notice it right up front. But Luke looks a little bit younger than when we saw him in earlier.
I did notice this right up front, and this is so funny because it was me, Josh, Don, Holly, and a listener, and I think it was who I call Captain Kirk, who's a long-time listener of the show and become a friend. I call him Captain Kirk because I don't want to give his name, but because I don't know if he still does podcasting and all that kind of stuff. So it was us, and I remember looking over at those guys and I go, "Why does he look so young?" They're like, "What?" I was like, "Wait. Why does he have the blue lightsaber that just blew up?"
Yes.
I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then I was like, "Wait, because I talked during this movie because I was just like expressing myself. I was like, wait, his leg when he puts his foot in the salt, it doesn't move like Kylo Ren's does. What the fuck is going on?"
Right, so subtle nods, and if you blink, you miss it with the lightsaber thing. Just like you said that. Like I didn't notice that at first, and I hate myself for it. But when you watch it again, you're just kind of like, wait, that should be green. Like, oh,
you didn't notice that at first?
No, I didn't. I think I was just very much caught up in the moment, and when I was caught up in the moment because I knew how big of a deal this moment was in The Last Jedi. Like, we're about to see Luke Skywalker, lightsaber battle for the first time in how long?
Yep.
So I was just like, okay, blue lightsaber. I just kind of made like a general assumption. The movie just said, okay, Rey maybe gave it back to him. So.
Yeah, like she fixed it or something on the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Something stupid like that. But I love the fact that now after the fact, it makes so much sense.
It's the best.
And it lands on my top in my favorite lightsaber battle because of the symbolism that it gives us. It's like Luke finally does what he intended to do. He didn't harm Kylo Ren or Ben in the process. He gave the Resistance all the everything they needed to get out of the situation that they were in, aided by Rey, and the first time she used some major Force abilities. So,
dude, which is the most Jedi shit you can do is to not fight.
Exactly.
And that's why I just go like, how do you not get the beauty of this movie? Like, that's the whole point, is that he chose not to keep going. He chose to run away because he knows that he was making the next Vader. He dipped out. He didn't want to be found. He didn't want to be involved. And he finally gets convinced to come back because maybe he was wrong. He knows there's no good in Kylo. He kind of tells Leia as much when he does like the Force, but like he knows that like we have to. When Yoda talks to him, he's like, we got to keep the Jedi going. Just because they were false doesn't make it bad. This is what's worse is having just the Sith roaming around. And even though they don't call Kylo Ren a Sith, he's essentially a Sith. I know he's not, but we're arguing semantics here. But it's just like he meditates from a distance. See you around, kid. Dips out. Done. It's fucking awesome.
It's a fitting and trigger warning for you people out there who don't like The Last Jedi, but it's a fitting way for Luke Skywalker to die.
It is the only way. I mean, think about what could have happened. So let's say, I always go this. So let's say, pretend everything happens the same exact way, except Luke's alive and Kylo Ren kills him. That means Kylo Ren has killed 2 of the 3 main original trilogy characters and was a part of almost killing a third. I know his TIE silencer didn't do it. He doesn't deserve to kill that many people. And I like Kylo Ren. But, like, you can't. It makes sense for him to kill his dad in that moment. You get the whole thing. But that is just because Luke has to go. All the original trilogy characters have to go. And I do think if Carrie Fisher had stayed alive, they still would have killed off Leia. That's just my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was going to happen either way. I think they were kind of slowly doing that because if you don't, then these characters don't have the opportunity to step up and fulfill those roles.
Right.
I kind of feel like Poe took over for Leia, and kind of Finn filled in that like funny smuggler. He's not a smuggler, but like funny kind of bad boy kind of thing because he's it's not the same exact character, but you kind of see the parallels a little bit, right? And then Rey obviously being Luke. So without that, you wouldn't have had that. And my only thing about the sequel trilogy that I fucking hate is that we're not going to get any more of them. I think they fucked up by saying it's a trilogy. They should have just kept on. It's a space fantasy. It mocks the not mocks. It pays homage to the serials. They didn't just stop. There wasn't 3 stories and you're done. They should have kept on. They should, and I still think they should keep on, especially now that Grogu's in the fucking picture.
They will.
I hope
One
so.
way or another.
I really hope we see an episode 10, man. I really do. I really do. But mine is way more or less. Now that you talked about that one, it makes me bummed out I didn't put it on my list. I'm kind of pissed at myself. My number 1 is Duel of the Fates. It's so boring.
That's okay.
I know, but like it's anticlimactic. It's everybody's favorite. I'm a hack this week. Yours is so
No, you're
much
not.
better.
It's your favorite. This is our list. This isn't anybody else's but our list.
But here's the thing, though. The thing the fight you just talked about, I like more than any of the things I said. Not any of the things, but some of the, I like it more than a lot of things I said. Like I like it more than Rogue One with Vader. It's a better scene. I could have put it there.
Change your number 1 then.
My number 1 is the Battle of Crate. I'm changing it. Fuck the Duel of the Fates. My number 1 is the Battle of Crate with Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker. There you go. Take that, Kyle. You fuck.
There we go. I like it. First time on Jedi Talk. End of the show. Change to your number 1.
There you go. No, Duel of the Fates is still my number 1. I think it's. I love Qui-Gon Jinn's my favorite Jedi. But yeah, I am pissed that I didn't put it on my list. That at least should have been like top 2 or 3. But Tom, we live and we learn. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? It's been a long week.
Yes, it has.
That's it, man. What a good show.
Yes.
We kept it under 2 hours by like 4 minutes. That's fantastic. Tom, where can the people listening to this show find you over on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me in a few places. If you want my general account that shares funny libertarian memes and Disney pictures and things that I feel like talking about, Ginger_Muscle. And then we mentioned Fourth Mother Box earlier. It's a podcast I do with my buddy Kyle, who did say he's going to, he agreed to come on the show, by the way, after we called him out last week.
Oh, good.
So he wants to come to defend The Last Jedi. I invited him for today's show. I was going to tell you about it, but he's like, I don't want to walk in and get eviscerated. He wants to watch The Last Jedi one more time to see if he can keep his stance up of not liking it before he comes on and gets beaten to a bloody pulp by the two of us. So
I just want to. My main question. You know what? I didn't want to give him a chance to answer, so I'm going to keep my main question. How you could have had?
yeah, keep it.
You could have had something there because I think that this question trumps everybody. Excuse me for triggering people. Trumps everybody. For is the question that no one can ever ask, or no, sorry, no one can ever answer when I ask them the question, and they always kind of go like, "Well, I'm like, exactly." So shut the fuck up. Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. A fourth Mother Box takeover of Jedi Talk. Let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bring it on.
for sure.
So,
Let's do it.
Follow Fourth Mother Box at Fourth Mother Box on Instagram, and we're in Facebook too. Look out for us. We got a group. But yeah, that's it. Where can they find you, Brad?
They can find me at the Brad Ventures on Instagram. That's pretty much it. There's a few other small accounts, but that's pretty much where I'm at. Just go check that out. And the Facebook group, I have several. The one that I would direct you to would be either the Vintage Collection Facebook group or the Jedi Talk Facebook group, which we have, and I need to. I've never even said it that we have it. I don't think we have a Facebook group for Jedi Talk. So if you're a listener of the show and you want to go join the conversation there, go do that over there. But other than that, also, dude, I meant to say this when you were talking about the Luke on Crate. The Luke on Crate Vintage Collection figure is my all-time favorite Vintage Collection figure, and I need it.
Yes.
I wish it
awesome.
wasn't $150, but I need it.
Oh dear Lord.
I found it on Facebook a few weeks ago for like $85, but I just didn't have the money to shell out for it. But now I can. So if anyone has the Vintage Collection, the Luke Skywalker on Crate, please hit me up because I need it. That card is unbelievable. But thank you guys so much for listening to Jedi Talk. You can check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheBradVentures, and listen to the podcast there and comment on everything. And that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys on the next show. Next time we do a show, you might be here in person.
I might be. Yeah. Next week is going to be really weird because I'm going to be doing some driving. It might be a big truck. It might be my car. There's a lot's going to happen in the next 24
be a
hours.
big truck. It might be my car.
Yeah. So
Oh,
obviously,
fuck. Dude, I hope it's not. I really do. I hope it's not for you that
Yeah.
you have to drive that fucking truck all the way here.
I'll be keeping in touch. Obviously, if you ever end up doing a show next week without me, then that's fine. But definitely within the coming weeks, I'll be in person.
I can't wait, man. It's gonna be wild to have you here. We need to find a couch. I've been trying to get a couch here anyway. For the last a love seat. So if you see any love seats on your way from Arizona to here on the side of the road, just pick it up and throw it in the truck.
Okay.
Because we need a love seat here, but we'll figure all that out later.
I'll just wash the blood out of it first, and then
That's
toss it in
fine.
the truck.
As long as it doesn't smell like blood, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the episode. We'll see you on the next show. Until then, may the Force be with you.
Rise, Jedi Knight.
Yes.